it is so powerful to actually like have a vision and a goal and where you want to end up being. Otherwise, you're just going to chase yourself in a circle. So I couldn't agree more. Like mindset is literally 60, 70, 80, 90% of success.
What's up, friends? Welcome to the RE Junkies podcast, where we supply your regular fix of all things real estate. Make sure you're the first to get your dose of the RE Junkies podcast by subscribing to this show on your favorite podcast platform or YouTube. I'm Brooks O'Hearn, joined by my co-host Caton Murphy, and today we are excited to welcome in our good friend Austin Rutherford. Austin, how are you, my man?
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate the opportunity.
Dude,
this is gonna be fun.
I know this is going to be a ton of fun. You're going to drop a ton of value. We were just joking before we even hopped on here. We were just catching up, and you're already dropping a ton of value to Caton and I. So we know this is going to be great. So again, thank you for coming on. For those of you listening at home, Austin bought his first property at 20 years old. That was back in 2013, and he then went on to flip his first flip. And he made over $100,000 net profit. And since then, he's wholesaled and flipped hundreds of houses. He's been doing it mostly in the Cleveland, Ohio area. Excuse me, Columbus, Ohio. Sorry, Columbus. Those might be fighting words there. Sorry. in the Columbus market, y'all. Okay. And he's now got a rental portfolio over 15 million. Austin, we're going to get into a lot of that and then some other things as well. I know you've been working hard on your social media presence. I think at last check, you've got over 1 million followers across your platforms, which is fucking cool. And you've got a new Amazon bestseller. We're going to touch on that. And did your first book go bestseller as well? Is that your second bestseller?
Correct. Yep. Second one.
Yeah. So second Amazon bestseller. And now you've started Elevate Life, and you're teaching aspiring entrepreneurs how to invest in all things real estate, which is great because this is the podcast for all things real estate. So is there anything I forgot there that you would like to mention before we get started about yourself?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. My original goal was to go to the NBA. That didn't really work out, and then fell in love with real estate, went all in on it, and the rest was history after that.
Yeah. So I remember, I think the first time you and I met was I've been trying to think about this since we connected the episode, but it was out in San Diego for an event. Yep. And I think you were right before me pitching a deal on Shark Tank. And
I remember that.
And I remember just like I was sitting there and like you and I were definitely two of the youngest people in the room. My brother was up there with me right after you. And I remember sitting there and I was like, dang, this kid, like, I don't know what the hell he's pitching right now. I can't remember what you were pitching, but I'm like, this kid is like absolutely tearing up the Columbus market. And you were talking about some of the numbers you were doing back then. And I was like, I was blown away. So obviously we've connected at many mastermind events and had a lot more fun since then. And then especially worked together on quite a few deals too. So let's talk about your first deal and how you got started in real estate. So buying your first rental at 20, but how did you really get started in real estate? Take us back to that.
Before you go there, Austin, how old are you now? Like, how long has this, because you're obviously still very young. So just so people get a span of, you've done all of this in how long?
I'm 29 years old now. So eight-ish years in the game now.
Heck
there
yeah.
You go. I just crossed over. I'm no longer in my 20s, so
Brooks is old now.
Big 3-0.
enjoy your last few days.
For sure. But no, my first deal, I kind of say like I kind of had like two starts, right? The original dream, like I said, was the MBA. Then I read a book called Think and Grow Rich, which made me fall in love with the idea of like pursuing more, like the opportunity you can actually build something out of life. And then fell into real estate, and I really fell in through passive residual income. I was like, man, if you can make money every month without working, like that's great. So fell in love with the idea of that. Went on to, just kind of stumble my way through and figure out how to buy a rental property. So I ended up buying a duplex when I was 20 years old on Ohio State University's campus. I think I was netting like $1,000-ish a month, give or take. I was doing the management myself. And then I realized like I was broke. I had about $30,000 saved to my name at that time. I used it as a down payment. And then I was like, whoa, to buy another house, I got to work another 20 years to save 30 grand. Like I got to make money faster. And that's when I got introduced, to the coach and mentor, joined the program. Then that taught me the game of flipping houses. And then from that point to the time I actually flipped my first house was a 16-month journey, and raised $250,000 to fund that first deal from a private money lender. Flipped it, made $107,000 net profit, and reinvested all back into the business, and just blew it up from there.
That's awesome. That is awesome. At like 20 years, you were still 20 when you did that first flip, right?
Bought it at 21, sold it 4 days after my 22nd birthday.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so we're very similar in age ranges there as well. Like I think I bought my first flip right before my 21st birthday, and then, but very, very similar. Right. And the one thing we will touch on a lot is your private money usage, because you've become absolutely great at that. And I mean, you've raised, I don't know how many millions of dollars. I don't know if you know how many millions of dollars for private deals. And
20 million plus. I don't have the exact number.
20 million plus. All right. And it's impressive. So I want to get into that a little bit. We'll get into that a little bit later about, some tips, because I know you train a lot on private money, and Kaiten and I both know, like, you can't work in this business, in this investing business, without private money.
For sure.
It has to be like that is your bread and butter. So, for those of you listening and want to connect with Austin, if you want to become one of those 1 million followers across his platforms, you can catch in with him on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And we've got the links there in the show notes. So make sure you click on those, connect with Austin. He's always dropping free content, free value. Yes, he does coach and he has courses on the side, but he is dropping a ton of great free value every single day on all those platforms. So make sure you're checking in there. Now, Austin, I want to take you to a low point. So you get started, you've got the $100,000 flip, and things are looking great. And inevitably, as all of us entrepreneurs know, like, we hit some speed bumps, right? And we hit that pit, we hit that low point. So talk me through that, and what, like, where were you? What happened?
No, I mean, this is the part a lot of people skip. So I enjoy talking about this stuff. So, I've had a lot of low points. All entrepreneurs, have very high highs and sometimes very low lows. It's something you just got to get through, to become who you want to become. But if we take it back to kind of the beginning, like I said, I bought that duplex, put basically every penny I had into it. And then I was sitting there, I was like, all right, I need to make money faster to be able to buy more rental properties. And I was valeting cars at the time. I was going to college, taking 15 credit hours at the time. I was valeting 50 to 60 hours a week. So kind of like 2 full-time jobs. And then I just love this idea of real estate. And so I heard on the radio one day, I was like, if you want to learn how to flip houses and get rich, come to this seminar, right? So went to the seminar, and it was free. It was great information. They're like, hey, we have a 3-day seminar. It's $200. I was like, boom, I'm literally the first one in the back of the room. Swiped my credit card, went to the 3-day one. First day, amazing information. Second day, amazing information. At the end of the second day, they pitched their coaching program, their mentorship program. And they went through it, and I was like, yo, like, this is it. Like, everything in my mind was like, this is it. This is what I need to be able to, change my life. And then they're like, it's tens of thousands of dollars. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I don't have that money no more. Right. Like, I literally just put a few months before all my money into this duplex. So I walked out of the second day. You had to have the money the next day. Walked out of there the second day, and I was like, I'm gonna figure this out. So I went on AmericanExpress.com and opened up credit cards. And they asked me how much money I made. And I said, 100 grand a year. I was broke. And they asked me what my credit score was. And I said 800 plus. No idea what it was. And I got like a $15,000 line of credit. I was like, cool. I'm more than halfway there. It's go time. So I went to my mom and my dad and my grandma and my aunt and my uncle and asked them for the other part of the money. And they're like, man, like, I don't know. This is very fast. Like, you need it the next day. Like, if it sounds too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. All the stuff, like, people that want to, like, protect you and make sure you're not, harmed, are going to say. So literally I think I was still 20. I think I was late 20, 20 years old at that point. And like I just felt like my opportunity was gone, right? I felt like the thing that I knew I wanted just like wasn't there anymore, right? And I literally legit, I was still living with my parents at the time. And they went to bed. It was like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I crawled under my parents' dining room table and just started crying because I felt like I was missing an opportunity of a lifetime. And I come to find out I wasn't really crying. I was like wailing because I woke my parents up. And my parents came back downstairs and they like saw, I was hungry. I wanted it. What I've done the rest of my life. They decided to put up, the other $10,000 to join this, mentorship program. So I was like, yes, within the next day, like it's go time. I'm going to get rich next month. And, that's not how life happens. And, from the day that I joined that program to the day I made money was 16 months, right? So I was valeting cars 50 to 60 hours a week. I was going to college taking 15 credit hours. And I was trying to start my real estate business on the side. Handwriting letters. I was a licensed agent. I was going to look at houses. I was making offers for literally 16 months. Like I remember driving home one day from work. I was valeted from 7 to 3. I was driving home at 3:30 and I fell asleep at the wheel. And the only reason I woke up is because I hit the curb and I was on the sidewalk and there was a light pole in front of me. And I was like, holy shit. So swerved back onto the road, went home and continued writing handwritten letters to sellers. So it was 16 months is a long time. And, finally I was able to get that first deal, make over 100 grand in profit, but it was a struggle. That's a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 16 months of that, I can confidently say a large majority of people would have thrown in the towel and walked away.
Yeah.
And what was it within you, Austin, that kept you going for 16 months and you didn't throw in the towel and you weren't like, well, obviously you had a large investment, but that still can make people continue on. Not everyone.
No, for sure. I mean, that was definitely part of it, right? So like I had 18 months, no interest on the card. So I paid it off 16 months in. But like that was definitely a motivator. Having some of my parents' money was a motivator. Like I didn't want to, fail them. Like they're older, they're going into retirement, et cetera. I was like, that was a motivator. But I think just wanting something more out of life, right? Like I've always been a competitor ever since, playing basketball. Like I love to win, I love to compete. And like I hate, even to this day, like when somebody's like crushing it, I'm super, super happy for them. But I'm like, all right, like I gotta turn up. Like I gotta go be more successful, right? So like just that competitive edge is like really kind of what got me through there. But I mean, there was like dark times, like, my friends used to hit me up. So they were in college and I was like learning real estate, right? They were learning about business. I was doing business. And like, they would invite me to like go party and go drink and go out to eat at dinner and go on vacation. And literally it was no to everything. So they stopped inviting me. And, I can't, shame them for that because I said no to everything. And, a couple years later, after I actually started making some money, they came back to me. They're like, bro, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, when you said you were working, but you were broke, like we didn't know what was going on. Like you were working for over a year and didn't make a penny. And they're like, but it all makes sense now. So, you're going to lose some people, you're going to have some, harsh words thrown at you, but it's just part of the journey.
Yeah, that's funny. I know that feeling as a young entrepreneur as well. And it brings up my fiance used to tell me when we first started dating that she was like on dating apps or whatever. And she would see somebody with the title of entrepreneur. And the joke within her and her friends was like, oh, what did you invent the fucking spoon or something? Like, and so she would just like laugh about it and like, you're not an entrepreneur, you're fucking broke. And then fast forward, she starts dating me and she's like, wow, this is very different. But like, it's just funny to see it on that side too. Like friends, that's women, funny. Everything. So after you get that first house flipped, then what was the process? What was the process like? You said you reinvested back into the business. What were some of your first investments back in the business? And then where did it grow from there?
Yeah, no, great question. So I walked out with a $107,000 check 4 days after my 22nd birthday. And it was actually $184,000, but I had to pay some people back. So it was a big check, right? And it felt amazing. But I knew 100 grand wasn't going to change my life, right? So I didn't go on vacation. I didn't travel. I didn't buy a pair of sneakers. I didn't go to dinner. Like I did not celebrate it in any way, shape, or form. Looking back, I probably should have. But I literally put every single penny back into the business. So I paid off all my debt, paid my parents, and reinvested all the money back into marketing to then go out and get that next deal. Got the next deal, made money on it like 3 or 4 months later, 90 to 120 days later. Sold it, made like 40-ish thousand dollars in profit. So I had about 150 grand in profit. And like growing up, like I came up the same way, like, go to school, graduate, get a good, get good grades, go to college, get a degree, get a good job, etc. So I always promised my mother I'd get my college degree. And, making 150 grand at, 22 years old in like a 4-month period, I called my mom. I was like, hey, Ma, like, you ain't never going to see me walk across that stage. And,
Very sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, they've supported me from day one, so they knew the journey. They knew it was coming. She was like, I wouldn't expect anything different. And then called after the 100 grand, I still worked valet. So after the second deal, I picked up the phone, called my valet guy, and I was like, hey man, like I'm out. He's like, yeah, I know, I could already tell, and just went all in on real estate after that.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. And your first book kind of takes people through this process, right? From valet to millionaire is the title. And it's really centered around like this first kind of period or quarter of your entrepreneurial journey, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's all here, right? Like the how-tos, you can find in books, you can find on YouTube, you can find from a coach, like all that. The how-tos is the how-tos, right? It's copy and paste, literally.
Yep.
But it's like actually belief in yourself, right? So that first book is From Valet to Millionaire. It's the 10 things they don't teach you to become rich. And it's things like, surrounding yourself with the right people, getting rid of negativity out of your life, doing all the stuff you got to get right up here first before you'll ever become that person in real life. So that was kind of the first book was, just mindset. The second one was, how to of real estate. Right. So those are kind of the two, but definitely mindset always comes first.
Always. Yeah. Kate and I are very, very big proponents of that and of mindset and understanding. I say it all the time. Like I could teach a dog to run numbers on properties and only pick the profitable deals, but I can't teach a dog to do the other things that a business requires. Like downloading a free spreadsheet because you saw it on Instagram is really cool, but that's not going to make you a profitable real estate investor. Like it's just not. So I love that.
I think back to your question earlier. It was like, what got me through those tough times? Like it was a mindset. Like I remember every day sitting in front of a mirror telling myself I'm rich as fuck when I'm broke, right? Like doing your daily affirmations. I remember every day envisioning the house that I built at 25 years old from scratch because I knew exactly what I wanted in life, right? So like it is so powerful to actually like have a vision and a goal and where you want to end up being. Otherwise, you're just going to chase yourself in a circle. So I couldn't agree more. Like mindset is literally 60, 70, 80, 90% of success.
Absolutely. What would you say besides, visualization and affirmations? What are some of your other top mindset or even just like daily routine tips that you would attribute to some of your success?
I think reading is huge. Reading books is amazing. I think, having a coach or a mentor, because like I said, it's literally copy and paste, right? So anytime I've ever done anything in my life, I find somebody that's already successful in that. And I'm like, yo, like teach me what you do so I can copy and paste it in my market and I'm good, right? So I think those two things are huge. I don't know. There's this negative connotation with like having people that help you, which doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, it's changed my life many times over.
Well, once you learn how to ask for help, your business accelerates at such a faster pace too, because you're literally taking years off your career by following someone that's already done it, just like you said.
100%. 100%. Yeah, I used to be the guy that's like didn't want to ask anybody. Now I just act like an idiot. I'm like, yo, I don't know how to do this.
Never be the smartest person in the room.
That was one of the things that, one of my early coaches said. He's like, everyone's so quick to try to position themselves when they're networking or coaching, whatever, that, oh, I've done this. And he's like, when I walk into rooms like networking events, he's like, I have done more deals than probably half that room combined. And I still walk in there and act like I'm a new investor because that's when people will just spew. Like
Yep.
they will tell you everything you want to know because they're like, this new investor, like he's not gonna use it. He doesn't care, right?
Yep.
And you talk about the support staff. If we map this across to the NBA, like if people only knew the support staff, not only on every team, but like for all of those superstar players, if people only knew the support staff, the personal trainer, the all the different coaches, doctors, therapists, and then the life help that they also have, um, it's amazing that the people at the highest level have all of that surrounding them, and it's not just because they don't have that because they're at the highest level. They're at the highest level because they have that,
100%.
and that's what people can't put together. So I'm really, really glad you mentioned that. Are you still journaling?
Absolutely. 100%.
Because I know that was a big thing for you. I remember going on, masterminds at the beach and seeing you every single morning out there journaling, and then you'd flip it up and do an Instagram story or film something. So take the listeners through that process just really quickly.
Yeah, for sure. It goes back to the mindset thing. So journaling every day, and I really started it after I read the book Think and Grow Rich. It said journal for 30 minutes a day. Find a quiet space, whether that's your room or a balcony or a coffee shop, whatever it is for you, and just journal. And the biggest question I get is like, well, what do you journal about? And I used to ask the same thing, but literally it's like whatever comes to your mind. So sometimes like I journal about goals. Sometimes I journal about gifts I'm getting for Christmas. Sometimes I journal about, an issue I'm having with a team member, and, maybe the expectations that I didn't set or how I can become a better leader. And like literally it's whatever comes to your mind. And going back to the very, very beginning, what got me into real estate is I started journaling, and I was on a rooftop, and that's, they had like a balcony up there, and I just kept going up there every day to journal. And one day I was sitting up there and I saw like a 9-unit apartment complex or something. This is before I knew about real estate. I was like, if there's 9 doors, and all doors are paying, somebody owns the building, so they're all paying somebody. Yep. I was like, he's got to be making money. And that's literally how I fell into real estate. So like without journaling, like who knows if I ever would have found that, right? So it just opens up your mind to like actual possibilities, and play games with the journaling too, right? So like when I bought this new house here in Florida, it definitely pushed my financial thermometer. It's the most expensive purchase I've ever made. So I'm like, I started playing games. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, how do I create another revenue stream that's, X amount of dollars that covers all of that, so I never have to worry about it again. So like you start like, game planning and stuff on how to make bigger moves, but you're actually taking a second to sit down and go through that process.
Yes. I love that. And that definitely leads into my next question, which is, you talked about creating that new revenue stream, and I know you did a YouTube video on this, and this is something that you have done many, many times over with different large purchases in your life. And so you just talked about it with your new house in Florida, and the first time I remember you talking about it was with the Rolls Royce.
Yep.
So talk us through that a little bit. Obviously, like you have the income. You're not buying something and then trying to figure out how to pay for it. But this mindset of almost buying it and then figuring out how to pay for it, like dig deeper in that, because this is a lesson I think you've probably learned as you climbed out of your pit, right? Like as you become a true entrepreneur and scaled your business.
100%. It's a game I play in my head, and it's basically everything I do now is like, how do I get somebody else to pay for everything I want in life, right? And it sounds like insane. Like, why would somebody pay for everything that you want, right? So it sounds stupid, but it's actually ways of doing it, right? So like buying this house, I bought a piece of land like 5 years ago, sat on it. I was like, oh, I want to build my dream home. So I built my dream home in Columbus, sold it, I don't know, 3-4 years later, made a few $100,000, took that down payment, took that profit, put it in a down payment on this house, bought a whole bunch of rentals along the way that produce enough income to then pay the mortgage on this property, right? So this whole house, my dream house here in Florida, was all paid by somebody else. Same thing with the Rolls Royce. Is like, all right, cool. Like to get it, I could have bought it cash, right? But to get it, I want to play games with myself. So I was like, I need to start a new business. That's when Elevate Life was created. I need to start a new business. I need to make $100,000 plus in that business. I did it. And I need to buy 7 rental properties to cover the expenses on the Rolls Royce. So at the same time, I'm building both of those, and I did it. I'm like, all right, cool. It's time to get the Rolls Royce. So like literally, I know it sounds insane, but like everything I do in life, like those are the games I'm playing. Like, okay, cool. Buy another rental. All right, cool. Invest $100,000 here to earn a 10% return. It's $1,000 a month, whatever the math is. Like just start moving money around and moving yourself around to be able to produce, the money to cover those expenses for you.
Absolutely. It's a competition, and it's also a word I like to use, reverse engineer. Like when I coach students, most of the time it's like reverse engineering within your business, right? Okay, I need X amount of deals. Okay, great. Well, let's back into now, okay, how many offers you got to write, how many leads you need, how many properties you need to walk, and then back that into, okay, I need to be touching however many sellers. If you're doing the marketing, how many phone calls you got to make a day? Or if you've got a team, how many phone calls does your team have to make? How many sellers need to enter their information on your website? Wherever it is, you break that all down. And then entrepreneurship becomes just such a simple game of, okay, did I wake up and accomplish what we needed to accomplish today, tomorrow, the next day, this week, next month, and move forward, and then all those things fall in place.
Agreed. The funniest question is like, well, how do I go from 2 deals to 4 deals a month? You just double what you're already doing. You already did it. Like, why are you asking me? Like, double the marketing, double the offers, double the contracts, and there you go.
Exactly. So many people want to like branch out. They're like, oh, I've done 2 deals on calling for sale by owners or calling, landlords directly. And they're like, I do 2 deals a month. Great. How do I get to 4? Do I need to go do social media, or now do I add direct mail or Google ads or, whatever? And it's like, no, just do twice as much, double down. Do twice as much as what you're already doing. You have it proven. Like, just double down until that, whatever that is, just absolutely runs dry. And like, it's not going to, but if it does, then you move to add another campaign, or, yeah.
Well, Austin, I think what you do so beautifully too is you don't overcomplicate anything. Like, you're literally like, no, this is how you do it. Don't try to make this hard. And I also love that you set the reward for yourself. Like, this is what I want. Now, how do I go achieve it? I think most entrepreneurs do it backwards. So they go do the things, and then they had a great month. Okay, I'm gonna go buy an Audi, or I'm gonna go buy, whatever car. And it's like, and then next month they don't do anything. So it's really cool to see that you've set okay, I want this house, I want this car. Now, what am I gonna build that's gonna continue to pay me after I get that thing? I just created another revenue source. So I mean, you go about it in all the right ways and all the smart ways, and you don't overcomplicate it, which is beautiful.
For sure. I mean, I think I fell in love with the idea of delayed gratification. And I think that's something that society is missing massively today, is they want everything like immediate. And I do too. Like, I do. But I will outwork anybody on the planet to get what I want. And I know that, and I'm willing to put in the work for as long as it takes to get what I want out of life. And like, so Ed Milet said something, it was probably years ago when I heard this, but he's like, when you negotiate at the beginning how much you're willing to do to get the outcome, if you're negotiating that already, at some point you will break, because whatever that negotiation will hit and you'll give up, right? For me, when I want something, I'm like, I'm fucking in. Like, it's literally that simple. Like, tell me what I need to do. Like, I gotta, clean toilets. I'm in. I gotta fly 100 miles to 100 cities in 5 days. I'm in. Like, it doesn't matter to me, because I know the end goal and know what I want. And part of that is like falling in love with delayed gratification. That's just part of the game.
And that's a practice.
Absolutely. Yes, that is a very practiced skill. I think I'm remembering some posts and stuff that you put out about a mindset shift from when you were making a ton of money, like in your early to mid 20s, and you guys would go out for bottle service and go to the clubs, right? And then all of a sudden some shit shifted, and you talked about this, right? And so tell us a little bit about that, and kind of like, first off, like, how often were you guys out at the clubs blowing how much money? And then what was the shift in your mind that was like, wait a second?
For sure. So it wasn't like that much, but like, we went out to like celebrate like big things, like my birthday, New Year's, my homie's birthday, like, big events, right? But it was more than we could. And I remember one time, I think it was my like 25th birthday maybe, and I had a house party, and everybody came to my house, and it was amazing. It was great. had a whole bunch of like alcohol stuff. And then we all went to the club after that. And my genius self decided to invite all 50 people into my section. And the first round of bottles was like 10 or 12 bottles or something. And they came out, it was like Jesus. Sparklers galore. I was in there, I was feeling myself. Great night. And then we got like towards the end and they came back. They're like, you want another round of bottles? Me, I was thinking like a couple bottles. And I was like, yeah. And they brought all the bottles back out again.
Oh no.
Yeah. So that was one day that I spent a lot of money I shouldn't have spent. I don't splurge that much. When I do, I do. But like, what does that get you? Right. It gets you literally a night of, happiness or fun. And you wake up the next morning hungover, thrown up, drunk, whatever it is. And there's zero productivity the next 1, 2, 3, or 4 days after that. So finally and I think like a big thing too, like I was trying to impress other people. Right. And talking through this, I just found it out because I didn't really know this beforehand. It was definitely trying to impress other people. And when I became so comfortable with myself, that people asked me the biggest mindset shift that took me, from 6 figures to 7 figures, right? That when like the trajectory started taking off, and I always say confidence is when I truly, wholeheartedly, genuinely started believing in myself. And I think the same thing is with that. When I stopped caring about what other people think, because when you stop caring about what other people think, you start loving yourself, right? So I think both of those together, and literally I'm thinking about this as we're talking, I think both of those together is like really when my life changed, right? So I don't, spend money on stupid stuff. I make those goals that we were talking about earlier to get an outcome, right? So yeah, I think talking through that, I just came to my own conclusion.
There you go. I love it. And that's like, that's very, very practical advice to a young 20s entrepreneur, because, I see other people doing it. Every time they close a deal, it's like a night at the clubs or doing whatever. And you're right. It's not just the monetary loss, right, that you're never going to get back. It's the days of productivity after that as well, because you just partied so hard. And it's like, I think it might've been you or somebody said, it was like, what the fuck are you celebrating? Like,
yeah, literally, like for what?
Yeah. Like what, if you want to celebrate, like go buy some other assets like you've talked about. Right. And so, that's like very, very practical for young 20s, the mindset shift and the practical, like, why are you out, clubbing, just dropping thousands of dollars?
Agreed. The thing that people really got to understand here is like, if you buy the assets first, you can still have the liabilities, right? Like, yep. I don't know how much I spent at the club in my lifetime, 50 grand, 100 grand. I don't know, something around there. And like, just that, I could have gone out and bought 1, 3, 5, 7 rental properties that I could make $1,000 or $2,000 a month. And I can go out and pop bottles every single month with that same money, but I can have 5 or 10 houses to do it, right?
And it'll never run out.
Never. I can do it for the rest of my life. So like, you literally can do anything you want and have anything you want as long as you buy the assets first. You can go get whatever liability you want thereafter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So next question is, where are you headed now? Obviously, you've got a lot of things accomplished, and take the listeners through really quickly as well, like what your team looks like, because you're down in Florida. You mentioned that, right? You bought this beautiful new home in Florida, and take the listeners through like what your team and your operation looks like now back in Columbus, and then some things that you are looking forward to headed to in the future.
Yeah, no, great question. So, I built something in Ohio before moving to Florida that I hated, right? It was having to go to the office every day. It was having a big team. It was managing a whole bunch of people at every single time. So I was chasing something that looked good on social media. So for the people that are listening, don't chase something because it looks good, right? It took me to a very dark place where I hated going into the office every single day. So too many people build their business and then fit life around their business. You need to build the life that you want and then find a business that you can build around your life. So that finally clicked for me a couple of years ago. I've had the big internal teams and everything. Now my team's pretty, slim, I guess you could call it. We have a property management company that manages all the properties. We have boots on the ground that helps with all the Airbnbs. I have an operations person on the back end that helps me across basically all of my businesses. Then we're in the process of hiring a couple more salespeople now. Then I have an editor and a content creator as well. So in quote unquote in-house is the operations person and the content team. Everything else is kind of like, independent contractors.
Love it. I love it. What does your acquisitions team, like size wise, look like? Because I know like that was the team that you grew really big and kind of got really fed up with, right?
Yeah, I mean, again,
You need to get fed up with the team, not the team, just the your role in it, right? Let's
a little bit of both.
All right.
But no, like again, I was chasing that thing, right? Making $100,000 a month, and then $200,000 a month, and then $300,000 a month. But like, I forgot why I got into real estate in the first place. I was making that money, but I wasn't buying rental properties at the time, right? Literally, you're on a hamster wheel, flipping and wholesaling houses, right? It's a great way to make money, phenomenal way, but you're not building wealth that way. So literally, I woke up one morning, I was like, I'm literally doing the same thing I was doing 5 years ago, like the same exact thing. I'm still doing it today. So over the following, I think 90 days thereafter that, I bought like 30 or 40 rental properties because I had a mindset shift of actually creating wealth rather than chasing money because it looks good on social media. So with that, like I had a whole, sales team and stuff now. I've been able to build my social media presence to over 1 million followers now. So I get deals sent to me every single day. So I just have one person that looks at deals now. And it's all inbound. It's zero outbound to get those leads.
Love that. That's awesome.
But that came with a lot of outbound marketing to build up into that point.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
yes.
So my marketing now is not cold calling sellers, it's putting out content on social media. Because now I have, people that see that I'm doing something in real estate. Either they want to do real estate or they're already in real estate and they have a deal. They can't do it. They need to raise money. They need somebody to sign on the dotted line. They need a partner of some sort. They need, funding. And that's when people call me now. So like, I'm not necessarily, in the activity of everything like I used to be, but I'm still in deals for sure, just in a different manner.
Right.
Well, I love that you say that too, because my business, the leads come to me through social media as well. And I think what people don't understand is that we treat social media like a job. And,
100%.
We treat social media as our lead generation method. So
100%.
instead of me sitting here cold calling people all day, I'm producing the content and we're doing the captions and, all of those things. So I think that people look at it as just like a hobby and it's a job.
No, 100%. I when I started it, I treated it as a hobby. And then I realized I could make money on it. I'm like, oh, like this is literally, we track views, postings, KPIs. Like we have a whole spreadsheet. I used to do in my real estate company. I do on social media now.
Yeah.
Because people that are not building a brand on social media, like are missing the boat right now.
100%.
Massively missing the boat right now.
Huge. And you said it, the content team, you just like, I interact with your content. You're not like out here creating a freaking Netflix show. Like this is you're just you're just posting like you're answering questions and like every business owner, every real estate entrepreneur has the same things. It's a matter of who takes it seriously, who jumps in on social media and does that stuff. So
100%.
Yeah.
Greatest piece of advice I ever got on social media is to not try to create, because when you try to create, you overcomplicate things. You think you're screwing up, et cetera, et cetera. Don't create, just document. Document what you're already doing. Document the phone calls, documenting going and knocking on doors, documenting showing a house, document whatever you're doing. And that is super easy to post content because you're already doing it.
Right. Just record it.
Literally.
and you're going to get better doing it as well because you're recording it and watching it back. Like,
thanks.
And every TikTok asshole out there is going to tell you what you did wrong anyway. So like, you might as well post it and just get that free feedback already.
Agreed. Going back to like, dark places, right? Taking them low, right?
Yeah.
So first time I posted something not first time, it was like second or third time posting something on TikTok, and it was going viral. I had like 100,000 views and 200,000 views and 300,000 views. And I was like, yo, like this is it. I'm popping now. And I pull up the comment section and I'm excited, right? First comment. So the video was like how I became a millionaire. And it was like, bought a house at 20, flipped a house at 22, bought some more rentals, I'm a millionaire, right? It was a little like, dancing type of thing. And I was excited. And first comment was like, how'd you become a millionaire? You sold your hair. Second comment, you're a millionaire, but you can't afford a hairline. Third comment, literally the first like 6 comments was just like hate. And I looked at it and I was like, man, like, what if they're right? And then like a second later, I'm like, man, fuck these motherfuckers, right? So, like, you are going to go through struggles in whatever you do in life. You just got to be good with you, because you can take you to anywhere. You're going to pay yourself more money than anybody else ever would pay you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's funny as shit. Cause I know, like, I mean, we've all been there. We wear some stuff on social media and it's like, I mean, you got to have a little bit of thick skin and you got to be able to just like close it and be like, fuck them. Like, I'm out.
Thanks for
whatever.
the view.
Yeah. Thanks for the view. Thanks for the comment. You know, you're still tracking me. Now, I like to go in and I like to rile them up a little bit because I love, extra comments, like get some more algorithms and stuff, like get more views. So I'll poke them a little bit. Like I will poke the bear a little bit, and it's a little bit of fun. And then it hits a point where I'm like, all right, I gotta reel myself back out of this, and we're on to the next video now because I can't be doing this.
100%.
So Austin, let's talk about your newest book, another Amazon bestseller, Get Free Houses, right?
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Yes, sir. There's the copy of it. And so, yeah, let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I wrote the first book, From Validated Millionaire. Tremendous mindset book. People said they got crazy value from it, but everyone kept asking me, they're like, hey, do you have a real estate book? Do you have a real estate book? What book can I read on real estate? I was like, all right, I got to write a real estate book. So the title is Get Free Houses, and it's the simple guide to creating life-changing wealth, all using other people's money. That's how I've been able to build my entire business, is from private money lenders, flipping houses, new construction, smaller apartment buildings, commercial buildings, whole bunch of single family houses. It's all been OPM. So really the essence of it is the BRRRR method, right? Buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat. And how to raise the money, how to deal with the banks, how to deal with the contractors, how to find the deals, how to structure the deals. So that's kind of really what this book covers is the how to basically buying rental properties using other people's money.
I love it. And this strategy is life-changing. It's game-changing for every single person on this planet. And I truly don't think enough people even know about it or know the inner workings of it. And you break down in this book, you break down everything. And, it's really a step-by-step guide. Like if you want the how-to, go do it. So how do the listeners get a copy of this book?
Yeah, so super simple. Go to howtogetfreehouses.com, howtogetfreehouses.com. You can grab a copy of the book right on there. But I'm with you. I don't think people really understand the power of it, right? So I did a book tour on this book. We hit 10 cities in 13 days, and I ended every speech with this one thing, right? And it was, and I broke down the whole process, and then I ended it with this. I was like, think about this. You can now own this property without ever putting a single penny of your own money into it. So you own an asset without having to put any money into it. You get cash flow, you get appreciation, you get depreciation, meaning you don't have to pay taxes, which is the biggest expense for all businesses. And your tenant will pay off the mortgage. In 20 years from now, you'll be so rich and so much cash flow, you won't even know what to do. Like if you think you can do that without your money, why would you not do that as many times as possible? Right. Yep. But like you said, people don't know what they don't know.
People don't know. And it's just, it's really for anybody in real estate, it's a slightly different change to the way you're already evaluating properties. Like it's just a little bit different in the math up front and buying them with a little bit different lens on it. And the back end makes it like, it just like, it makes it so much easier on the back end. And I know you break this down like almost daily on TikTok and Instagram, like different deals you've done. And like you walk through the finances of it. Like, here's how I did it. Here's how I did it. And some of these stuff, like some of these, you walk away with large checks from the refinance portion of this. You pay back all your private lenders and you still get paid. You still get a large profit at the table to refinance and then keep all these properties on your net sheet that are paying you cash flow every single month.
Agreed, 100%. And the refi is tax free. The biggest thing is people don't know about it. Two, it's hard mentally to give up $40,000 profit flip today to make $300 a month in passive income, right? 40 grand to 300, massive difference, right? But that 40 grand is one time. Over the next 5 years, between cash flow appreciation, depreciation, tenant mortgage buy down, you'll probably make 2 to 5 times as much money over the next 5 years, but you got to have delayed gratification. So people always ask like, what's the biggest regret, right? Everyone always says there's no regrets, right? I wish I'd have kept more fucking rental properties. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Like, I was making great money, 200 grand a month, 300 grand a month. But like, what do I need 300 grand a month for, right? I wish I'd have done 100 that month, but kept 10 rental properties that month and the next month and the month after that and the month after that and the month after that. And I'd be worth a lot more money than I am today, right? But again, it's just mentally giving up, that big profit for that, couple $100 in cash flow.
Absolutely.
Delayed gratification.
Delayed gratification.
I see a theme.
So again, for those of you listening, howtogetfreehouses.com, howtogetfreehouses.com. There'll be a link in the show notes for you to click on that and get a copy of this book. Austin, we're going to head into the lightning round. All right. So this is, we're just going to have some fun with this. And we always tell you, no prep, just kind of firing off some answers, and let's see what you got. All right.
Let's get it.
All right. So if you could sit on a bench tomorrow and chat with someone for 1 hour, who would it be?
It'd be one of the ballers, like Warren Buffett, Bezos, Musk, one of those guys. I just want to know how they think, because they think differently than everybody, like 99% of the world, right? I want to know how they process information.
Yep. Perfect.
I love that. What are 5 things that you could not live without?
Pizza, basketball, my fiance. Make sure she sees this replay.
Yes. we'll put that in a clip for her.
My family and ice cream. Love ice cream.
I love it. All right. If someone gave you $1 million to spend on real estate today, where would you spend it?
On real estate.
Or in real estate.
Yeah. Some of it would have to go to marketing, right? In some way, shape, or form. But like if it was buying deals, self-storage is like the new hot thing. I think there's a lot of money to be made in that. Multifamily is great. And then industrial, like warehouse type of space. I think there's a huge opportunity coming in that too.
Love it.
Absolutely. What is your all-time favorite book? Let's keep it business or real estate.
I said it at the beginning of this. What's the Napoleon Hill book? I just went blank.
Think and Grow Rich.
That one changed my life when I was 19 years old.
Love it.
We have another one that didn't start on Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I was gonna say there have been very few. Like we started these shows and it was like Rich Dad Poor Dad, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I also read Rich Dad Poor Dad like graduating high school. My parents gave that to me, and then I remember we were playing cash flow and stuff as a kid. But yeah, so it's nice to see a little bit difference, and not everybody has to be a Robert Kiyosaki commercial.
Leave it to Austin to go against the grain.
I love it. We love it.
That's funny.
All right. Last one. What is your ideal vacation in one sentence?
Relaxation or disconnected.
Okay. I love it. I love it. All right. Now let's round this out with a quick, this not the lightning round, so you can expand on this answer. If you lost everything today except for your knowledge, what would you do in your first 30 days to close a deal?
I think you got to go back to the grassroots, right? Everybody comes into real estate and they're like, how do I get the first deal? I'm like, do you have money or not? Because that changes the game, right? If you got 20 grand or 50 grand, you spend money on marketing, hire cold callers, buy lists, buy data, skip trace, and, text and cold call and get leads. But if you're starting out with nothing, right, which is how a lot of people start, go back to the grassroots, drive for dollars and door knock, right? But go to the city, pick up a water shutoff list or a code violation list, and go knock on the doors of those people, right? The deals you and I and everybody on this call will never get, because we're not going to knock 1,000 doors every month, right? But anybody new to the game that has the time to do that will get more deals of that nature, because they are direct to the seller, and we're sitting here over here trying to call them on a cell phone, right? So I'd go back to the grassroots, go drive for dollars, get a very, very niche targeted list, like a water shutoff, like a code violation, and go very directly targeted to those types of individuals.
I love it. That is awesome and very well said, because It doesn't need to be that complicated to get your first deal.
Agreed.
Does
How to
not.
get 100 deals? Different answer. First one,
Very different, right?
100%.
We'll bring you back on for that conversation.
Yes. Yeah. For how to get 100. Absolutely. Austin, thank you so much for joining us today. And for those of you listening at home, thank you for joining us today. If you like this week's dose of the RE Junkies podcast, please subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a crazy real estate story or a great case study, click the submission link in the show notes to be featured in a future episode. And submissions can be anonymous if you want. We'll catch you junkies next time on the only real estate podcast of its kind.